Listen, I'm looking. Your book is ranked number 86 in overall books on Amazon, and considering that they sell 14 to 15 million books, and that means there are only 85 other books in the world that are selling a little bit better than yours right now, but 86 out of 14 million. It's number one in espionage category. It's number one in 20th century works category. It's number one in history and theory. You've got another huge blockbuster on your hands, my friend. Congratulations.
Well, thanks, Carl. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, and and I can see why, because as I said, I'm 80% through with it, and folks, let me tell you, this book it's going to make you think, and it's going to make you think some more, and it's going to make you think again. This book is not a little fluff piece. It's not a little National Enquirer fluff piece, but if you hang with it, anybody can read it now. I'm not saying it's so technical you can't, but it's crammed with information. And this is 50 years later, and Dr. Corsi is an absolute professional at this journalistic reporting of events, and you're not going to be able to put it down, folks. And listen, if you're near a computer right now, if you're at home or if you're in the office, get to your computer as you're listening to me right now. Go on Amazon and put in Who Really Killed Kennedy, okay? And then just put in Corsi, C-O-R-S-I, if you want to. Dr. Jerome Corsi. Just put in Who Really Killed Kennedy, Corsi, and order the book right now. It's a beautiful, beautiful bound book. It's got an index in it, produced by WND Books. It's on Kindle, hardcover, but go get the book now. Dr. Corsi, what do you want people to know the most about this book? And then I've got a bunch of stuff I want to ask you.
Well, just go ahead and start asking your questions, Carl. We'll start in that way.
Okay. Well, let me do this. All right? Let me do this. I was just looking at all the reviews, and there was a review here I thought that just summed it up. It says, Dr. Jerome Corsi has written more than a Kennedy assassination book, and you have, brother. He goes on to say, this is a book that explains much about what is fundamentally wrong with America. And I asked you off the air a minute ago, Dr. Corsi, I haven't finished the book, but it seems like everything you've uncovered here, it's still going on. And you said, oh, yes, Carl, that's one of the conclusions I come to in the book. Is that correct?
Yes, well, it's one of the reasons I wrote the book, is that John Kennedy's assassination was a threshold moment in our history. It was a moment when the forces that I call the New World Order won. The evil forces triumphed.
It was a coup.
This was a victory for the dark forces of intelligence agencies. I point to Allen Dulles, one of the Dulles brothers, who was the head of the CIA when Kennedy took office. He came in 1953 under Eisenhower, and Dulles was fired by Jack Kennedy in the Bay of Pigs fiasco early in Kennedy's administration, and Dulles set out a revenge to kill Kennedy, because Kennedy would not go along with fighting wars based on CIA lies that were not in our U.S. national security interests, but benefited only economic interests. And I tell the story in the book, which is rarely understood by the American people, of how the Dulles brothers, including John Foster Dulles, the brother of Allen Dulles. John Foster Dulles was the Secretary of State under Eisenhower. How the two of them had, working at W. Averill Harriman's firm, his family firm, Brown Brothers Harriman, an investment firm before World War II, had financed Hitler.
God.
What a tremendous role Dulles played in the rise of Hitler and the bringing of Nazis to the United States and the bringing of the fundamental National Socialist ideas that had led to Hitler's rise into our politics. And in the process, people don't understand that the patriarchs of the Bush family, which would include Prescott Bush and George Herbert Walker, were both members of that same firm and were together with the Dulles family running a Nazi bank, Union Bank, that FDR had to close down in the early days of World War II.
Yeah, well, Brandon's going crazy over here as you're talking because, see, he's researched a lot of this stuff prior to hearing you say it, and he's going out of his mind. Do you have something you want to add, or you just going crazy?
I'm just blown away because, like you said, I've been researching the Bush connection to all of this stuff, and the Nazis, and then the rise of Al Qaeda, and it's just it'll blow your mind.
Now, Brandon, do you see why I told you get Dr. Corsi's book?
I wish I would have paid to have it overnighted.
And I think, as you'll see it as I develop it, I try to get you systematically into the story.
Right, you do.
So that it's a matter of, once you understand one level of this mystery and this puzzle, then your mind's prepared for the next level.
Yeah.
It's not something you can really grasp all in a second until you really see the whole thing together.
Right.
I quote one of the assassination researchers who points out that, it's been pointed out before many times, that a magic trick is only a magic trick until you understand how it was done.
Right, you say that in your book. Yeah, that's so good.
And it applies both to the way the assassination was pulled off as a false flag operation, as a coup d'etat, which it was, how the mob participated. And I've known many of the players in this. I tell the story of the Elkins family, which I think is a fascinating story. And I knew the Elkins family quite well. They were the crime family that were the key witness was J.B. Elkins in 1957, in February 1957, of the McClellan Committee hearings when they began, and that was the start of the investigation into the organized crime moving into the Teamsters. And the Elkins family warned Jack Kennedy before the assassination that he was going to be killed and that it would be accomplished with a setup involving a shooter with a high-powered rifle and a scope in a tall building.
And he actually talked about that. He actually had premonitions of that because he was told that.
Well, and Kennedy, the day he was killed,
he talked about it that day.
Fort Worth, talking about how easy it would be to assassinate him that day.
Yeah, because of the tall building, somebody with a rifle in a tall building.
And the image had been given to him by the Elkins family. He understood that. His family had been extremely important to Kennedy in his rise to power, and advisors of the Kennedy family from the moment they met. The two families realized that what they were going to do could cost them both their lives, and J.B. Elkins was killed in what I think was a mob hit. And, of course, so was Jack Kennedy, in a combination mob hit and CIA hit.
And so was Jack Kennedy's brother.
And Jack Kennedy's brother. It's important to see how the mob and the CIA worked together and why they worked together, and even with the drug connections. I mean, one of the assassins I document was, I don't know if you've gotten to this point yet in the book, Carl, but one of the assassins picked up in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963, the day Kennedy died, was a French assassin from Corsica off of Italy.
I've gotten that far. It was just blew me away when I read that. Go ahead.
Who participated in the drug trade that the CIA was already running out of Vietnam in 1963.
Yep.
The French Connection.
The French Connection.
Remember the movie, The French Connection.
That's right.
And this assassin was recorded in the CIA documents as being apprehended in Dallas. And if you get a world-class assassin apprehended the day the President of the United States is assassinated, you'd think that we would care to investigate.
You'd think.
But instead, the INS, Immigration Naturalization Service, just deported him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's, again, another obvious sign of the fix being in, and that this guy, Mertz, who is a well-known assassin, establishes some of the international connections of the team that assassinated JFK, and how the military has worked together with the CIA all these years. I mean, some of the themes in the book, and that particular theme, you've got to ask yourself why it is today there's more heroin coming out of Afghanistan than there was when the Taliban ran Afghanistan. And the answer is going to trace right back to the CIA and the fact that we have been in the drug business ever since the CIA is founded.
Yeah. Good gracious. Dr. Corsi, this is a mind-blowing book. It is stunning. It is just going crazy on Amazon. Congratulations. Folks, if you are listening to this interview right now, you know we're talking to Dr. Jerome Corsi, the New York Times best-selling author of several books. He's just written another blockbuster entitled Who Really Killed Kennedy 50 Years Later. Stunning new revelations. I'm telling you, this book is stunning. The revelations are stunning. If you're near a computer, you go get this book now. Go to Amazon.com, put in there Who Really Killed Kennedy, and put Dr. Corsi's last name, Corsi. You'll go right to it, Who Really Killed Kennedy, Corsi, and go order this book now. You can get it in Kindle. You can get it hardback. You will not regret it.